The signal arrived without warning from deep within the uncharted reaches of space. Its faint pulse was detected by a small group of observatories scattered across Earth's surface. At first, it seemed like a glitch, something that would pass unnoticed like many others before it. But this one was different. There was something in the pattern, something deliberate. The signal was too precise to be an accident. The signal wasn't just random noise. It was a message that carried a frequency unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Dr. Elena Mitchell was the first to notice the anomaly. Sitting in the darkened control room of the Stellar Research Center, her eyes narrowed as she studied the signal's waveform on the monitor. It wasn't like anything she had seen in over a decade of work at the observatory. It wasn't just an alien signal. She thought it was a message. There was purpose behind it. No one else believed her at first. They chalked it up to cosmic radiation or a malfunction. But Elena knew better. This was something else, something important. She gathered a team of the brightest minds she could find: astrophysicists, mathematicians, engineers, and experts in deep space communication systems. They worked around the clock, decoding the strange message. A pattern emerged gradually. At first, it seemed random. But the more they examined it, the more they realized the signal was composed of a series of sophisticated mathematical sequences, primes, binary codes, the kinds of things that were too precise to be accidental. The team's excitement turned to confusion when they discovered the source of the signal. The journey to the wreckage took weeks, but the anticipation was palpable. Every crew member knew they were standing on the edge of something monumental. The ship had been drifting in the depths of space for centuries, its once pristine exterior now weathered by time and the cold harshness of the void. As the research vessel approached the wreckage, it became clear just how massive it was. The ship's hull stretched for miles like a forgotten titan, now decaying in space. Its once bright markings faded into nothingness. The team could hardly believe their eyes when the wreck came into full view. They had expected a relic of some ancient age, perhaps a decayed artifact of long-lost human explorers. But nothing prepared them for the scale of the discovery. This was no mere forgotten ship. It was a colossal warship built by humanity itself. Its design was elegant yet terrifying. Its structure was unlike anything Earth had ever produced. It was a ship meant for the stars, meant for exploration and conquest. Dr. Elena Mitchell was the first to step foot onto the wreckage. She had seen the images on the screen, but nothing compared to standing before the ship in person. The size of the ship was overwhelming. Its empty corridors echoed with a silence that seemed to stretch back through centuries. Elena's heart raced as she walked the halls of a forgotten empire. The walls were etched with symbols and markings unlike any human language she had ever encountered. They seemed familiar yet alien at the same time. The deeper they ventured into the ship, the more they uncovered strange devices, strange technology that didn't seem possible for its time. Advanced systems of propulsion, artificial intelligence, and weapons that far exceeded anything Earth had produced. The team worked tirelessly deciphering the alien tech, trying to understand how such a powerful civilization could have vanished without a trace. As the days passed, one discovery after another sent shockwaves through the crew. Every time they thought they had reached the end of the ship's mysteries, another chamber, another room opened before them. It was clear this ship had been part of something much larger, a fleet of ships that had set out from Earth on a mission no one had ever spoken of. Then came the first log entry from the ship's captain. The team gathered around as Elena accessed the ancient terminal. The words appeared on the screen in a language they could not understand, but somehow they all felt the weight of the message in their bones. The translation began, automatically revealing the ship's journey into the farthest reaches of space. The captain spoke of an expedition meant to chart uncharted worlds and to meet new civilizations, but the tone of the entry shifted as the story went on. Something had gone terribly wrong. The crew was at odds with each other. A betrayal was hinted at. And then the final entry, the captain's final words, read simply, "We were abandoned." The team stood in stunned silence. They had expected to find the remains of a lost mission, but this wasn't just a failed exploration. This was something far darker, something that spoke of a war within humanity itself. The ship wasn't just a relic of the past, it was a warning. Elena looked around at her team. They had found something much more than ancient technology. They had found the beginning of a story that had been erased from history, one that had been hidden for a reason, and one that would change everything humanity thought they knew about their own past. The discovery sent ripples of unease through the team. The captain's final words echoed in Elena's mind. "We were abandoned." Those words felt like a heavy weight pressing down on her chest. They weren't just the last thoughts of a lost crew. They were a puzzle, a clue to something much larger, something humanity had been kept in the dark about for centuries, if not longer. As the team continued to explore the wreckage, they uncovered more fragments of the ship's logs, hidden in secret compartments and encrypted archives. Each piece was a piece of a fractured puzzle that told a story more disturbing than they could have ever imagined. The ship wasn't just part of an exploration fleet, it was part of a much larger human effort, a forgotten chapter in humanity's history, one that had been erased completely from the records they knew. The ship's systems began to reveal more and more information about the mission. It had been part of an ambitious effort to establish a human presence across the star's centuries. Before humanity had even mastered interstellar travel, it had been designed to be the vanguard of an empire that spanned galaxies, an empire of humans who had once sought to unite the stars under their rule. But something had gone wrong. The ship's logs told of an ancient war between factions of humans, those who had sought to explore and those who had sought to conquer. As the mission unfolded, a brutal conflict arose between the two factions, each with their own vision of humanity's future. The war escalated, and soon the fleet was scattered across the galaxy, fighting among themselves. It was clear that the human race's reach had exceeded its grasp, and the resulting war had torn apart the once great empire, leaving only remnants behind. The more Elena and her team uncovered, the more they realized that the true scale of this war had been hidden not just from the public, but from the history books themselves. Someone had gone to great lengths to erase all evidence of this empire and its conflict. It became apparent that the people who had sought to cover this up were still out there. They were the ones who had orchestrated the betrayal that had left the ship and its crew stranded in the first place. The most chilling discovery came when they accessed a hidden chamber deep within the heart of the ship. Here they found the remains of what appeared to be a human stasis pod, still operational, but empty. Inside the pod was a message left for future generations. It wasn't from the captain or any other crew member. It was a warning from someone who had been part of the highest echelon of the Empire's leadership. The message read, "We are not alone in our betrayal." Elena's heart raced as she processed the implications. The message wasn't just about internal betrayal. It was a message aimed at humanity itself. Someone within their own ranks had deliberately sabotaged their exploration efforts and sent the survivors into isolation and obscurity. But who could have done such a thing, and why had the truth been buried so deeply? As the team sat in stunned silence, the gravity of their discovery began to settle over them. They weren't just dealing with the remnants of a lost human civilization. They were uncovering the truth of a vast and ancient conspiracy, one that could rewrite everything humanity knew about its own origins and its place in the galaxy. The team's discovery of the ship's final log sent ripples through Earth's scientific community, but what they didn't know was that it had already begun to attract the attention of forces far beyond their understanding. As soon as the wreckage was identified as a human-made relic, it didn't take long for the world's most powerful factions to take notice. What had once been a quiet research project quickly became a global priority. But it wasn't just Earth's governments that were watching. Days after the first findings were broadcasted, the team's facility was attacked. A sudden burst of electromagnetic interference flooded their communications, followed by a series of deep space craft entering Earth's orbit. The intruders were not from any known human nation or alliance. They came from somewhere far more distant, from a faction of the galaxy that had kept its distance from humanity for millennia. At first, the invaders seemed to be simply curious, or perhaps cautious, wanting to observe Earth's reaction. But as soon as they identified the wreckage of the ship, their intentions became clear. Their ships were equipped with weapons far beyond what humanity had ever seen, powerful energy blasts that cut through the facility's defenses with ease. Within minutes, the research center was under siege. Elena's team barely had time to react as the alien forces descended with overwhelming force. The attackers were humanoid in shape, but their features were unsettling smooth skin that shimmered like polished metal eyes that reflected no light at all. Their technology was advanced beyond anything the team could comprehend, but what terrified them most was the way the invaders moved through their facility with cold precision, as if they already knew the layout, as if they had been expecting this moment for centuries. Alina watched in horror as the invaders breached the facility's main chamber with military efficiency. They were searching for something, but what they sought was still a mystery. The team tried to fight back, using whatever means they could, but their weapons were nothing compared to the alien technology. The invaders' craft hovered above the ground, emitting bursts of energy that obliterated anything in their path. The air crackled with an eerie hum as the aliens advanced through the corridors. Then something unexpected happened. One of the ship's systems unexpectedly powered up. The team had been working to unlock the wreck's ancient defense systems, but they hadn't anticipated activation. So soon, without warning, the ship's AI triggered a powerful energy pulse from deep within the wreckage, blasting the invaders back in a brilliant flash of light. The pulse only lasted a few seconds, but it was enough to give the team a fighting chance. The aliens retreated momentarily, stunned by the sudden surge of power. Alina and her team rushed to activate the ship's remaining systems, pulling together the pieces of forgotten technology that might help them hold off the invaders. The ancient human warship was beginning to come alive again. Its dormant weapon systems flickered back into existence as the AI continued to reveal more secrets from its deep archives. The invaders had underestimated the power humanity had once wielded, and now they were beginning to understand that this was no ordinary relic they were dealing with. As the alien forces regrouped for another attack, Alina realized that humanity's fight for survival had just begun. The wreckage of the lost ship wasn't just a relic of history. It was a key to something much larger, something that would either save or doom Earth. The team now faced a decision that would shape the future of humanity. Would they continue to unlock the ship's secrets and risk more alien intervention, or would they hide what they had found, hoping the invaders would leave Earth alone? In the days following the alien attack, Earth's global security agencies scrambled to assess the threat. The research team had uncovered something the rest of humanity was still struggling to comprehend: an ancient human-made warship hidden in the farthest reaches of space. And now it was stirring to life once more as governments across the world came together to discuss the implications of the discovery. The alien forces remained silent, watching from the shadows, but their intentions were clear. Alina and her team worked tirelessly on the wreckage's systems, hoping to understand more of its technology. The ship's AI continued to offer cryptic messages as it gradually reactivated its dormant functions. The more they unlocked, the more they realized just how far beyond anything Earth had ever known this ship truly was. As the team uncovered detailed blueprints for faster-than-light travel, quantum computing, and devastating weaponry, they began to understand why the aliens were so intent on capturing the ship. It wasn't just an ancient relic. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, one that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. But it wasn't just the advanced technology that was troubling. The ship's AI began to reveal the true purpose behind the fleet's creation and its mission. Humanity had once ruled the stars in an era long before the current civilizations rose to power. Alina's team was learning the darkest parts of human history, a history that had been intentionally erased and hidden away. They were not just uncovering advanced technologies, but also secrets about the fall of humanity's first galactic empire. One by one, the pieces began to fall into place. Humanity had been a dominant force in the galaxy once, but their empire was torn apart by a series of betrayals within their own ranks. The exploration fleets that had set out to conquer and chart new worlds had been sabotaged from within by factions who feared the power humanity held. As Earth's first fleet was destroyed, a coalition of powerful alien species saw their chance to rise and force humanity into obscurity, erasing their presence from history. As Alina and the team discovered more about the betrayal, they realized the aliens who had attacked their facility were not just random invaders. They were part of an alliance of galactic powers that had worked together to ensure humanity's fall and keep them hidden in the dark corners of the galaxy for centuries. Alina's heart pounded as she considered the gravity of their findings. The ship wasn't just a technological marvel, it was a time capsule of humanity's lost legacy, and now the alien factions were aware that this legacy had been rediscovered, and they were coming to stop it from ever reaching the wider galaxy. The first true battle between humanity and these galactic powers was on the horizon. Elena knew it wouldn't just be about reclaiming technology, it would be about reclaiming a place in the galaxy that had been taken from them by force and deception for the first time in centuries. Humanity stood at a precipice with the chance to take back what had been lost. But the threat was overwhelming. The alien forces had the advantage in numbers and advanced weaponry still. Elena couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. Humanity had a chance to reclaim their destiny if they could only harness the full potential of the ancient warship and its incredible technology. The battle wasn't over yet, but humanity's fight for the stars was only just beginning. As Elena stared out into the vastness of space, she knew that the coming storm would be like nothing humanity had ever faced before, but in the heart of that storm, there would also be an opportunity for humanity to rise once more. The alien retreat was brief, but it didn't fool anyone on Earth. The quiet that followed only signaled the calm before the storm. The research team worked around the clock to harness the ship's advanced technology and weaponry, knowing that the next confrontation would require everything they had. At the helm of the operation was Elena, who had become the face of humanity's resurrection from the ashes of obscurity. But her leadership was not without its challenges. The ship's eye was complex and enigmatic, offering them only fragments of information about its origins and the secrets locked within its systems. The more they learned about the ship, the more they realized the true scale of what humanity had once achieved. They had not only explored distant galaxies, but had built entire colonies on worlds that no longer even existed, wiped out in the cataclysm that shattered the human empire centuries ago. The ship itself was part of a fleet designed to carry humanity's greatest minds and warriors to the farthest corners of the cosmos, and it had been abandoned after a devastating betrayal tore the fleet apart. Now that they had unlocked its weapon systems, Elena and her team focused on upgrading their own ships to match the power of the ancient fleet. Their best engineers worked alongside the ship's AI to install quantum shields, antimatter cannons, and devastating particle disruptors. Each weapon was a game-changer capable of annihilating entire fleets in seconds. But with the aliens still watching and waiting for the opportunity to strike, the stakes had never been higher. Meanwhile, Earth's political landscape shifted rapidly as leaders realized the gravity of the situation. Nations who had once squabbled over resources now stood united with a common purpose: survival. The alliance formed between the world's governments was fragile but necessary, and for the first time in history, humanity seemed to share a single vision of what they must become. Though the ship's secrets offered them newfound power, Elena knew that technology alone wouldn't win this war. Humanity would have to learn to fight as one and reclaim its lost legacy in the stars. The remnants of the old empire, however, remained buried deep within the ship's databanks, and the AI was unwilling to reveal too much at once. It spoke in riddles and veiled warnings, perhaps from fear or from a sense of self-preservation. In the midst of their preparation, Elena received an encrypted transmission from a group of resistance fighters, humans scattered across the galaxy who had managed to survive after the fall of the Empire. These survivors had long known of humanity's lost legacy and had kept themselves hidden from the galactic powers that had risen in the wake of the Empire's destruction. The message was brief, but the implications were profound. There were more ancient ships out there, more remnants of the lost human fleets, scattered across distant systems. This revelation sparked a fire within Elena and her team. The research on the ship had already opened doors to knowledge and power they never dreamed possible. But now they understood that the true strength of humanity lay not just in one forgotten warship, but in a scattered network of ancient vessels, hidden across the galaxy. If they could reach them before the alien forces did, humanity could unlock its full potential and perhaps turn the tide in their favor. With the enemy forces still lurking at the edges of the solar system, Elena made a bold decision. She would lead a daring mission to locate the remaining ships and bring them back into the fight. It was a risky move, one that could either save humanity or lead them to ruin, But for the first time since the beginning of their struggle, Alina felt something she hadn't felt in years: hope. The legacy of humanity was reborn, and with it, a new era was about to begin. A struggle for survival, for unity, and for a chance to reclaim their place among the stars. The moment had arrived. Humanity was no longer just a species clawing for survival. It had become a force to be reckoned with. The stolen alien technology and the ancient ship's secrets had turned the tide in their favor, but the battle was far from over. The alien factions, once confident in their dominance, now found themselves facing an unexpected adversary. Earth had awoken, and with it, the remnants of a power long forgotten. As Alina stood before the newly formed fleet, the sight was nothing short of awe-inspiring. Dozens of ships, all now equipped with advanced weapons and shields, lined up in perfect formation. The warships that had once been the heart of humanity's lost empire were now at the forefront of a new war, one that would decide whether Earth would continue to be subjugated or rise again to its rightful place among the stars. The first major battle occurred in the outskirts of the solar system. Alien forces, having regrouped, launched an all-out assault to prevent the newly formed human fleet from gaining any more ground. Their ships, sleek and deadly, tore through the void with precision, but they had underestimated Earth's resolve. The human ships, powered by the forgotten technologies of their ancestors, proved far more resilient and deadly than the invaders had expected. Alina commanded the fleet from the bridge of the flagship, her heart racing with every passing moment. The AI that had once been dormant now offered its guidance, suggesting strategic moves, relaying real-time data, and even interfacing with the crew's systems to enhance their combat efficiency. The first wave of alien ships struck, their energy blasts lighting up the void. But humanity's new defenses held strong. The quantum shields deflected the blasts, and the antimatter cannons unleashed waves of destruction in return. For the first time in centuries, Earth wasn't on the defensive. It was fighting back. The battle escalated quickly. The alien forces, now realizing their mistake, called for reinforcements, but the human fleet was ready. Alina led the charge, taking the fight directly to the heart of the enemy's command ship. Her strategy was simple: strike fast, strike hard, and disrupt their ability to coordinate. The ancient warship's weapons tore through the enemy's lines, sending shockwaves through their forces. It wasn't just advanced weaponry. It was the human spirit. They fought with a tenacity born of desperation, of remembering a time when humanity was a force to be reckoned with across the stars. As the human fleet closed in on the alien command ship, Alina's thoughts raced. She couldn't help but wonder if they were truly ready for this war. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity had shown they could match the aliens at every turn. But there was more at stake than just victory. There was the question of whether they could maintain their unity, their strength, and their resolve in the face of overwhelming pressure. The true test of humanity's survival wasn't just in the weapons they wielded or the ships they commanded. It was in their ability to remember who they were and to embrace the legacy they had lost so long ago. The alien command ship loomed large before them, its defenses formidable. But Alina knew that their ancestors had faced far worse. The remnants of humanity's empire were about to be reborn, and with them, a new order was on the horizon. As the final assault began, Alina gave the order. The fleet surged forward, and in the silence of space, the fate of the galaxy was decided. Victory came, but it wasn't without cost. The alien forces were defeated, but the battle had shown them that humanity was not to be underestimated. The cost of reclaiming their place in the stars had been high, but it had been worth it. The war had just begun, but humanity was ready to take its place as the true rulers of the galaxy. The galaxy was quiet. The dust from the final battle had barely settled, and yet the weight of the moment hung in the air. Earth's fleet, now victorious, hovered above the shattered remains of the alien command ship. Its once mighty engines lay dormant, its weapons silent. But the victory was not just one of battle. It was a victory for a future that had been lost for millennia, a future that humanity had reclaimed with grit, unity, and determination. Elena stood on the bridge of the flagship, her gaze fixed on the vastness of space before her. She had seen the cost of this war, the lives lost, the sacrifices made. But she knew that humanity had finally found its true place in the cosmos. The ancient warship they had unearthed had not just been a relic of the past, it had been the key to humanity's future. The technology, the knowledge, the strength that had once defined their empire was now in their hands again. Across Earth, the news of their victory spread like wildfire. The nations that had once bickered over petty differences now united under a single banner, the banner of the human race. The political leaders who had once feared the very idea of a unified Earth now saw the power and promise that it held. Humanity was no longer a fractured species. It was a force to be reckoned with. The old governments, the old borders, had become irrelevant. A new era had begun, an era where humanity stood as the dominant power in the galaxy. But with this newfound power came the responsibility of leadership. Elena knew that the true test was just beginning. The war had been won, but the journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and while humanity had defeated the alien forces that sought to suppress them, there were still countless unknowns out there. New civilizations, new threats, and new challenges awaited. But for the first time in centuries, humanity was ready to face them head-on. As Earth rebuilt its society, Elena and her team began to plan their next move. The ancient fleet's secrets were far from fully unlocked. They knew there were more ships hidden across the galaxy, relics of humanity's first great empire. If they could find and unlock the remaining ships, the power they would wield could reshape the galaxy in their image. But they would have to tread carefully. The war had shown them that there were forces out there who feared humanity's return. Forces that would stop at nothing to ensure that humanity never regained its former glory. Elena's thoughts drifted back to the team, the brave souls who had risked everything to uncover humanity's past. They had lost friends, allies, and comrades along the way, but they had emerged victorious. And now it was time to rebuild. Earth had been forever changed by the discovery of the alien wreckage, but it was not just technology that had been revived. It was the spirit of humanity itself, the drive to explore, to conquer, to understand the universe around them was alive once more. As she gazed out into the stars, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The galaxy that had once seemed so vast and unreachable was now within humanity's grasp. The darkness that had once swallowed their empire had been pushed back, and in its place, a new dawn had risen. The legacy of humanity was no longer a story lost to time. It was a living, breathing force that would shape the future of the galaxy for centuries to come. Humanity had returned to the stars, and this time they would not be forgotten.